Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And it's a new week, and we're going to start out this week by talking about designing our lives deliberately, like consciously, instead of allowing, as opposed to sort of having our lives be something that just evolves out of circumstance. So it should be fun. And we get to explore all kinds of possibility. But before we jump in, let's just take a minute or two to get present. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold it and imagine clear, crisp oxygen just flowing into your lungs and into your bloodstream and into all the cells and organs of your body, enlivening and enlightening and invigorating you. And as you exhale, exhale any tension. You can roll your shoulders if you like. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose. Hold it, and this time imagine sparkling white light lighting up every molecule in your body, vibrating through you, brightening and enlightening and connecting you with the world beyond. And as you exhale, exhale any remaining tension. Now let's just gently press our palms together. Softly, softly, softly rub your fingers against your palms, tickling them to wake up and feel how wonderful and delicious that sensation is. And let's bring ourselves present right here, right now. Welcome, Sally De La Rosa and Natalie Brown. Great to have you here. Welcome. We're going to be talking today about designing our lives. And there's actually, I've spoken about this multiple times. There's a book by Bill Burnett, and I'm sorry, but I've forgotten the name of his co-author, called Designing Your Life. And it has some really wonderful tools and techniques to be able to start looking at what kind of life do you want to create for yourself, whether you're in a job transition, as so many people are these days, or you're at a time in your life where you're maybe retiring, or looking for whatever that next step is. These skills and even this conversation is a really, really powerful opportunity and vehicle to open up possibility for ourselves. So I agree with you, Sally. Sally says it's time to create the life we desire to live. So the reason that I'm thinking about this is because I've been thinking a lot about or dreaming a lot about having a camper van and traveling around the country and living in this camper van and kind of exploring the world. So over the weekend, I actually went to an RV dealer and got to check out a couple different camper vans. Now, these things are anywhere from 17 to 20 feet long. They're the size of a standard van, so you can park them anywhere and you can be on any campsite. And so one of the things in this book, Designing Your Life, that it said, which I've taken very much to heart, and I recommend very much that we take to heart, is to prototype your life. Good afternoon, Hope. Wonderful to have you here. We're talking about designing our lives. So there's a book called Designing Your Life, and what the suggestion is prototyping your dream. And in other words, it means test it out, try it before you buy it kind of idea. And so in my own experience, I've been dreaming of having an RV for years. And at one point I went and checked them out and found this big hunka-munka thing that, like I would have I thought that I would like to live in. and it was sizable. It was a pretty big thing, and it would have eaten lots of gas, and I would have had to have a truck to tow it, or they're cost prohibitive, blah blah blah, whatever it is. So lately I've been thinking about this camper van thing, which is smaller, more economical, a little bit more environmentally friendly, at least. And so I went to take a look at one, and I have been thinking about it ever since, and thinking like all these questions arose in my mind that I hadn't even considered. Like, what do you do for temperature control when you're parked and not plugged in somewhere? And uh, what is it like to take a shower in a bathroom where the toilet and the shower are in the same space, so that the whole little enclosure is the shower? And what where would you store all these things, and what do you do when the weather's not nice and you're kind of bound in this little box? So the book is called Designing Your Life Hope, and it is written by two guys. One guy's name is Bill Burnett, I believe, Burnett, and they go through a whole process of discovery, self-discovery. And I talk about some of these things in my ebook. If you haven't gotten it yet, you can go to my website at yourcoreconnection.com and go to the tab that says Blueprint. And if you sign up for the email list, you'll be able to get the PDF. And it talks about, well, the title is Your Inner Success Blueprint: five keys to discovering what you were born to do. So one of the things that they talk about in the book, which is awesome, is finding what lights you up. That's a really, really, thank you, Dido. You're always there on the ready. Thank you so much. So Dido just posted the link for Designing Your Life, the book. It's a whole movement. They have a whole Facebook thing going on. Sally says, set it and forget it. Set your intentions, let go of the need to control the details. Spirit will take care of the rest. I agree with you that the power of intentions is really powerful, Sally. And what we're talking about here, you're welcome, Hope, is not so much setting the intention, it's getting to the place where you have a clarity around the intention, because so many of us imagine a life that imagine ourselves into, or intend ourselves into a life that may not fit us as well as we would like. So the example in the book was about this woman who loved cafes, and she decided she was going to, because she loved cafes and tea rooms and such, she was going to have one. And so she started one. It was tremendously successful, and she discovered that she absolutely hated the administration and the retail and the lifestyle of owning a cafe. What she loved was hanging out in cafes, and it was sort of a misdirection of her notion. And thank you, Dido, for putting in the link for the blueprint, the Inner Success Blueprint, my ebook. And hello, Lillian, welcome. Glad to have you here with us. So we're talking about designing our lives. And actually, one of the big things that we're not trained to do is to actually explore what are I'm going to say it's beyond personality, but what our likes and dislikes are, as far as activities, as far as uh, living situations, as far as the kinds of interactions we enjoy, the things that inspire us. And so this book, Designing Your Life, which Dido put in the chat, gives us tools to start exploring the things that we really enjoy. And one of the keys to that is to look at what you did as a kid. Like when you were playing and you could do whatever you want, what did you do as a kid? So for me, I did a lot. I did show and tell and I played school. Okay. I've always been a nerd. It's, not something that I am apologetic for. But Dido, I hope Dido is DIDO. And I love that you thought about it really creatively. And Dido is my champion here. She hangs out and is a tremendous support and adds really insightful comments. And Dido is the best. So clear mindset, Sally says, is needed for sure. So when I read that book, it gave me an inroad to realize that despite all this personal transformational work that I've done in my life, I didn't know a lot about me in a conscious way. Like one of the things that is really important is in my book anyway, and in the ebook, is to become clear about your own core values. And when you become clear about your core values, then that can help you uh, to make decisions and to find circumstances that support you in those values, because so much of what happens in our lives is just out of alignment. And part of the reason that it's out of alignment or we're out of alignment is because we're not really conscious about the influences that are at play. Christina says nerds and geeks unite. Yes. That's me. That's me. I actually had a training company for 18 years and I trademarked the term get nerdy with me. That's how nerdy I am. But I think that, like that's the good side of being nerdy, is just being curious and wanting to learn. Anyway, so getting to know ourselves, that's what we're talking about. One of the ways is through identifying your values. Another is to figure out what lights you up. So for me, what was it about playing school that lit me up? And what I realized in that exploration that was triggered by this book and a workshop that a friend was doing using that book and that technology, um, was that I always knew I loved to learn, but it brought my awareness to a more conscious place. I love to learn. I, uh, I love to share what I learn. I love to see people light up with new ideas. Uh, I love exploring new ideas. So, adventurous thinking, and I love to know how things work. And that was a whole lot about what I shared when I was growing up. And the other thing you can look at is what kinds of dreams you had when you were coming up, when you were growing up. And I don't mean dreams when you were sleeping. I mean, what was your vision of what you wanted to be or do? Uh, and so many people want to be an astronaut as they're growing up, but there are all different reasons you might want to be an astronaut, right? Maybe you love the unknown. Maybe you think the astronaut suits are cool. Maybe there's something else about it that just really turns you on. The thing is to find these things in ourselves and then explore what is at the heart of it. So Christina says, I love it, Mira. I have a workshop I did for conventions like Comic Cons that is quite nerd based. Cool. That's awesome. So I don't know. I think there's a certain well, attraction in nerding out on all different kinds of things. And what I mean by that is just sort of digging in and getting really excited and enthusiastic about learning different kinds of disciplines. And I have never been to Comic-Con, although I would love to go someday. Anyway, so this is a journey of self-exploration. The thing that has really been in my face, though, after having gone to check out that RV or that camper van, is the practicalities of it. And so I was there. I checked this thing out. I spent maybe 10. Hi, John. Thank you. John says, Jesus loves you. Welcome. Good to have you here. Um, I spent about 10 or 15 minutes in there. And it's been haunting me since, because this has been a dream, and I then thought, wow, people go and make decisions. I spoke with other people who were there who were spending a lot of money to buy these RVs, these campers, and they had never lived in one. They had never tried one. Lillian, you are so sweet. Thank you. So anyway, they were looking at changing their whole lives and moving into this camper van, or this RV that had a lot more space than the camper van, by the way. And they had never, ever had any experience in one. And the guy that I was talking to, the salesman, said, so are you ready to buy? And I said, oh no, I'm absolutely going to rent one first. I don't, because I don't know if I would like this. I don't know if I could accommodate myself in this kind of space, in this kind of environment. And I don't know what it entails. And so imagine going and spending, in some cases, and this is not my case, obviously, but in some cases, people are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars for one of these vehicles, and they've never tried it out. They've never lived in one. They don't even know if it's a lifestyle that would fit them. And I realize how important it is to prototype what it is we think we want to do. So for instance, and I don't know why this is coming to my mind, but let's say you wanted to be a police officer, or you wanted to be a nurse, or you wanted to be a psychologist or a social worker, or these are different things that you can imagine yourself doing. Or maybe you want to be a playwright. One of the things that you can get to do is to start interviewing people that are doing what you're dreaming of doing, and finding out more about it, learning more about it, learning what it entails, learning what the experience of it is. And then maybe you can try it out. Like maybe you'd have a chance to volunteer at a hospital if you're thinking that you want to be a nurse, or in an environment that you imagine yourself being in, to test it out and have an experience of it before you make a long-term commitment to something without trying it on. We get to try it on. We get to try on so many different things. We as kids, probably, maybe you had different hobbies. Maybe you tried different instruments to learn and play different instruments, to find something that felt good to you, that felt right to you. And the beauty of this whole designing your life thing is that you give yourself license to explore. And if not, if there's never been a better time, probably in all of human history, to be exploring your dream. So if you allow yourself to dream, and that's actually a big part of this whole thing, is allow yourself to dream your biggest dream. and then look at ways you can start prototyping it, trying it out, learning more about yourself and learning more about whether that's actually something you'd want to do. I remember when I started on this journey of really allowing myself to dream my dreams, I started talking to a very dear friend, long-standing friend for a very long time, and started talking to her about dreaming her dreams. And she was like, no, 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 no. Like I'm set with what I'm doing now, and I'm just not even going to entertain that possibility right now. And it was really more like, I'm not even going to entertain that possibility. And I think it's so important right now, when so much is in flux, and uh, so many old paradigms are shifting and new possibilities are emerging. When things are more fluid, is a perfect opportunity to be exploring new possibility. And I can't tell you how many people I know who, in response to COVID, have given themselves the freedom to move in directions of their dreams, and also to be innovators in terms of migrating an existing business, for instance, into an online platform. It's absolutely 100% true that life will present opportunities that we get to embrace and expand and grow into. And I'm also saying and inviting you to explore what calls to your heart. And that way we can refine our intentions so that life will serve the circumstances of life that emerge will serve that intention. So I know that this is really kind of powerful magic, and in the best and highest possible way, because I'm a product of it. I'm a product of dreaming a really big dream and bringing it into being. It's not necessarily something where you dream a dream and tomorrow you're there, but when you have a vision for yourself, when you allow yourself the freedom to move into the expression of yourself, your nature, your being, your inner calling, there is nothing more rewarding in my experience. Is like, for me, years ago, I made an incantation for myself about my vision for how I wanted my life to feel. And um, what's miraculous is that my life is now showing up that way. I get to play with amazing people in terms of ideas. I am involved in envisioning and imagining and hopefully implementing new ways of operating within our world that are more sustainable and bring us into a place of thriving. And if I can do it, you can do it. So if you dream your dream in a big way and open doors to possibility for yourself and the opportunities that life will present when you dare to dream your dream, uh, magic happens. So part of dreaming your dream is figuring out, well, like, what do you enjoy doing? I enjoy the heck out of talking with you guys and other people about ideas and the nature of being and how we can shape a better world for ourselves and each other, I love that. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm doing that as for my living, and I'm doing that uh, to to bring forward my even bigger vision. And I know that if I can do it, you can do it. And it starts with giving yourself permission to look into who you are and finding what lights you up, and also doing this kind of prototyping thing and sticking your toe in to see how it feels to try out that thing that you've been imagining would be so wonderful. Because sometimes, and I'm wondering now, I'm actually questioning, for me sometimes the thing that you dream of, you've romanticized, and it's not really a great fit for you. And I'm not sure if that's the case for me with regard to this little camper van. I love the idea of it, and it's sort of a romantic idea for me. And I really truly don't know if it's something that is a fit. So I have a lot more exploration to do before I jump in with both feet. But I can, the exploration itself is an adventure, and that's a gift we get to give ourselves. So Lillian says, you're a big inspiration, really. Thank you so much. And Christina says, I'm so glad you're here. Christina, I'm glad you're here. And I just invite you to play, because things can be so heavy and so intense that why not step outside the box of our everyday to give ourselves the space, even for a little bit of time each day, to start creating what we want, and well, what we desire, what we prefer. And so I've mentioned this a bunch of times too, but I'm working a program with a group called Mind Flavors, and it's this conditioning, inner programming, law of attraction kind of uh, thing that I've been doing for a while now, and it's wonderful. And one of the things that we're talking about is the power of our words. And so we're writing power declarations, and it's just been so much fun to be writing out these fabulous feeling words, as they call them, like um, we can say, I am so excited and delighted for the amazingly wonderful, deliciously delightful, spectacularly uh, brilliant, uh, energizing, vital, and inspiring life that I am creating from one moment to the next with every breath. So just by saying these crazy words, like we actually wrote down a whole bunch of feeling words that really inspired and uplifted us. And this is a great thing to do for yourself too, to start shifting emotionally into a space of creation and creativity and expression and expansiveness and all these things about how you want to be, or you desire. I'm changing the word from want to desire in a very deliberate way. Want is a word we get to eliminate from our vocabulary and replace with things like desire and prefer and etc. But anyway, give it a shot to write down these delicious, wonderful words. And what we did, and this was really powerful too, was to put them in a big power declaration sentence or a group of sentences, and record yourself reading it to yourself, speaking it to yourself, inspiring yourself. Liliane says that, yes, I do that every day. Well, good for you. That is so powerful. and hearing yourself in your own voice, declaring into being the life that you want and the deliciousness of it, that like lay it on thick with all the wonderful words that you can come up with to inspire you and enliven you. And Lillian says, when we use I am, it's powerful, for sure, for sure. So the idea here is to not say I want or I need or I wish. It's I am manifesting in this moment and every moment all the joy, delight, inspiration, expression, authenticity, and on. Deliciously delightful, delectably juicy, richly rewarding, abundant, and fulfilling, etc., etc. Life for that that is beyond even my wildest dreams. So we can go on and on and on. And as you do that, and you listen to your voice that you've recorded saying all these things, it will help to open the doors. It will support you in opening the doors to possibility and connecting with your innermost desires and dreams. And so there are all kinds of inroads into being able to design our lives in a way that we experience joy and fulfillment and inspiration and comfort and whatever it is that is um, so calling your heart, that is calling to your heart. So that is it for this morning. And I invite you to go and connect with you and connect back with your dreams and look at what is it about that dream that so inspired you. And it may look like that the dream is the end goal, and it's not necessarily, because the dream holds the components that you might be able to reconfigure in another way that is more fitting to fulfill your desires. So play with it. And that's actually at the heart of all of this, is in designing your life, it's play. When we were kids, when I was a kid, I got to play with blocks and other things to put together and build. And as we become adults, we forget about playing and we forget about the imagination and applying that to our lives and daydreaming into being the things that our hearts are calling us for. And I am inviting you to give yourself permission to really embrace that playful, imaginative, inspired, creative side of yourselves and bring forth your calling into the world. That's what we're all here for. And it's more important now than ever. Your voice and your calling and your gifts matter now more than ever, because we have a world that needs you to show up and shine your light in the brightest, most glorious possible way. So thank you, Lillian, for being here with us. Thank you all for being here today. It's been such a joy to play with you, and a great way to start our week designing the life of our dreams. So with lots of love and deep compassion, I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection. And I go live every weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern on the Facebook page of Enlightened World Network. And I invite you to check out all the other really spectacular programming on Enlightened World Network. And I look forward to seeing you here again with me very, very soon. Lots and lots of love.